run through GMetrix test 2. Since that's the harder of the two, I'm on my GMetrix portal. Go to Inventor, practice exam 2. I'm going to start it. We're going to do it in training mode just to make sure we get the right answers. And we're going to start the test. We're going to use Inventor 2024. Downloading the resources. Or once I click it, continue. It boots up. And it's almost as slow on my machine as it is on the school machines. Which means it might be GMetrix. Okay, so test 2. Come on, drawing. Okay. Sweep IPT, adjust the diameter of the circle, 0.3125, sweep it along the sketch. Adjusting the circle, you can either go into the sketch to adjust the circle. You can actually just double click it right there. Point, notice I didn't backspace, didn't do anything, 0.3125, I just typed over. Now, that updates. And now I go up to sweep. It finds the feature. It finds the curve. It does that automatically. But GMetrix in their infinite wisdom, it won't create it like it should. So you have to click this second button to make it extrude. You say, okay. That gives us our solid. What's the volume of the feature? By feature, they mean everything, not this end, not that surface, not that end. So to get everything, we go up here to the top, right click, go to iProperties, and we want volume, physical update. Our volume is this. Control V. Next, a correct answer. Moving on to the next question. Close that. Go to the next question. And of course, Inventor crashes here just the same way it does there. We come down here, restart associated application. So I thought that was a problem with maybe the district permissions, but no, it's GMetrix. That gives us this one. Now we're back. Let's hit next. Test question 2. Constrain the two components. So we want to put the nut on the bolt. So we're going to do a constrain, and for constraints, we, circular objects, we're going to use the insert constraint, and we want this outside face of the bolt. Make sure you get the outside face. You get the inside, if you get in here on the chamfer, no good. Get the outside of that chamfer to the end of the bolt, not here, but here, end of the bolt. And that puts it like this with our insert. We need to flip it over, so we click aligned instead of opposed. Aligned, now they line up. And click OK, because we're done. OK accepts and exits. So now what's the distance between points? We're going to use our measure. We do not have to go to our inspect tab. We simply right click, click on measure, click that face, spin it around, click that face, and that's our measurement. Now I've got, this is going out to more decimal places than I need, so I'm just going to take those and see if I can change that. Oh, do Control C, bring that measure over here like you would normally see it. Control C, Control V, and hit next. Yes, that's a good answer. I am going to go to document settings. Well, see, it's showing 3. Well, we'll see what this other one does. Create 2 sets of center lines. So it wants us to create a center line from circle to circle. And then that's not a center line, that's a center mark to get the offset distance. So how are we going to do that? We go to annotate, come over here to center line. Center lines up here, center line, go circle to circle, right click, create. That gives you that center line. And here's where you can start playing with the test a little bit. It wants you to put another center line up and down. Well, a center line doesn't work with just one circle. It needs 2 circles. So you need a center mark. To do a single circle, you put that center mark there. And if you wanted to, you could drag that down so you could then dimension. Now you can dimension between that line and that line. You have to come in between it. It says it's 4 degrees. That's the answer. Well, we could have just skipped that part, and we could have just dimensioned from here to the vertical edge. As long as the line's vertical, it's the same. Just be careful when you do that you're gonna, when you take a shortcut like that you are going to get the right answer. We're just going to type in 4 here because you can't really copy out dimensions. Say next, and we got that one right as well. Next. Okay, this one is one that most people wouldn't know how to do, especially at this base certification level. How to get that section 10 inches from the center line. Okay, and they say add a section view, but we are not going to add the section view while we're waiting for this. We're just going to adjust this section view until it's where it needs to be. So whenever you create a section view, you would click up here and create a section view. Whenever that section view is created, it always creates a sketch to where the section line is going to be. To find that sketch, you come over here to the base view, and then you see view 2. Click that, and then under view 2 is where the section is cut. It's generated off of view 2. See that sketch right there? That's, if you hover over that, you can see the red line pop up over here. So I'm going to double click that sketch, and I get this line, which I can move. I can just grab it and move it. Now when I move it, it doesn't look like that dimension updates. But if I come up here and finish the sketch, that dimension moves over, my section updates, and so that's what we want to have happen, except we want this number here, oops, we want this number here to be exactly 10. So I go back into the sketch. So all I've got to do is put a dimension from this line to the middle, except it doesn't want to snap to the middle line to give me a horizontal dimension. So what do I have to? I need some geometry here. So I am going to project geometry. I'm going to project this center line through. Okay, and now I have that. Now, if I right click on that, it doesn't want to let me change it from a center line. So when I dimension to it, and when I dimension to a center line, I get a diameter dimension instead of a radius dimension, which would be to the middle. over. So I'm just going to double my number. My number is 10. So I'm just going to make this 20 for a diameter. I hit check. That says that it's a 20 diameter. Finish the sketch. That gives us a 10 for the dimension, which is exactly what we want. 10 inches over. What is the dimension of the line shown here? So, oops, it wants to know this dimension here. So when you come over here, that dimension that you're going to give them, you're going to go to annotate dimension. And zoom in at the bottom. You're going to find this green dot here. Click it. And you're going to go up to this green dot here and click it and put the dimension over there. 16.6. Yeah, so we'll just type in 16.60. Make sure you get the 0 because it says shows the 2 decimal places here. If you get a space in it, extra space at the end, or if you leave the 0 off, it'll tell you the answer is wrong. You say next. Next. Hey, we got the correct answer. Okay, next question. Create a rib from the sketch provided. This one's pretty easy. So all you have to do is come up here and find rib. Right here is rib. As soon as you click rib, it finds that line and creates the rib. And it says add a draft dimension of 15 degrees. How do you do that? When you go up here, see where it says draft. Click draft. It defaults the angle. I don't highlight it. I don't do anything. It's in blue. I just type in 15. And it puts a 15 degree draft angle on there. I say okay. And it wants now what it wants is the volume of the part. Don't let it trick you. See that blue? A lot of people would, because on the other test 1, they want the area of that. Here they want the volume of the part. So to get the volume of the whole part, we need iProperties. So we right click at the top, go to iProperties, physical, update, volume, 3 decimal places, 3 decimal places, Control C, Control V, just with my left hand. Don't take your right hand off the mouse. Control C and Control V is left hand on the keyboard. 14065. Next. Yes, we are correct. Close that. Go to the next question. Oops. Inventor crashes again. We'll restart the application. And here it comes. So this one says on this plate, 4 counterbore holes, centers of the radius and fillets. So again, whenever you're dealing with one of their parts, you always want to turn the part so it looks kind of like it does on the screen. Makes it a lot easier. So the first thing we do is it wants 4 holes at the centers. Now, one thing to look for is, what is it asking? It's asking for the mass of the part. So these 4 holes that I'm going to put in this surface, it kind of doesn't matter where I put them. As long as they're in a flat portion, they're going to remove the same amount of material. But we'll do it the way they tell us to. So they want these 4 holes, but here's the problem. They tell you they want it counterbored. They tell you the diameter of the counterboard, the whole diameter, but they don't give you the depth. So, okay, here's another thing that's going to happen to you. See my ribbon? I don't have my normal tabs up here or anything. To get those tabs up there, you have to reset the current file. When I reset the file, you watch up here, now I've got my tabs. Hold down my shift key, spin my part around. Okay, so I need 4 holes, 4 counterboard holes. So I click hole. I know I need 4 of them. Now with this, with your hole, make sure you've got this green plus with this little sun there in the corner. That will allow you to put the hole on the surface. If you have a red minus sign, you can't put a hole in the surface. Make sure you got a green plus. You put a hole, you click the curve, that puts it on the center. Hole, curve, hole, curve, hole, curve. Now this is a simple hole with a counter bore. Depth is through all. The counter bore diameter is 10. Type in 10. We're going to leave the depth at 2 because I think 2 millimeters for the depth is good. The hole diameter is 5. Make that 5. And we are going to say, okay. Now, the next hole is this one here in the front, and that is going to go all the way through. It's a through hole. Countersink diameter of 10, hole diameter of 5. So it's the same hole, but it's located a little different. So we just create a hole, and they want it on face 2. Face 2 is this face here, so we place it on face 2. Now they want it from the vertical edge of face 2, 15 millimeters. What do they mean by that? This line over here on this edge, that's the vertical edge of face 2. So you click on that, and you type in 15. And that makes it 15 millimeters over from this edge. They also want it from surface 3, they want it down 85 millimeters. So surface 3 is this surface up here, but which would be represented by this line here. If I click that line, it measures that. I make that 85, just type over it. That's 85. My countersink is 10. I'm going to go 2 millimeters deep, even though they don't tell me how deep to go. Hole diameter is 5. It's through all. Now this location will matter. If you don't get it left to right, it won't matter. But if you don't get it in the right place, up or down, as it moves here, it will change the mass of the part, which is what they're asking for, the mass of the part. So we'll say okay. We want the mass of the part, so we go up here, right click, iProperties, physical, update, mass of the part, highlight, Control C, click Control V, make sure I've got the right number of decimal places, and let's check it. Yay, got it right. Okay, so we close out of that, we say next, and we get another error, restart. And this may happen a number of times to you. It may happen in the certification exam. I do not know. But if it does, just restart the application and be on your way. Now, if your toolbar does this, you know you're going to need to also reset the current file. Hopefully the certification exam won't have these same problems. And it is really not cooperating. So we're going to restart the application again. And try it again. Oh, okay. This one got me. Okay. I knew better because it doesn't open a file. But it doesn't give me many tools either because there's no file open. Why doesn't it open a file? Start a new Inventor assembly file. Now this is a mistake. You don't open an assembly file. You're going to open a part file. And this is inches, so we're going to come up here to new, click new, standard IPT, create. So I think that little problem with starting the new file has gotten a number of people. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Create a circular part 6 inches in diameter, 4 inches thick. Well, that's pretty easy. We start a sketch. Doesn't matter what plane we started on. We draw the circle. Click on the center and just type in 6. You don't have to draw the circle and then dimension it. Just type 6, enter. It draws a 6-inch diameter circle. We finish the sketch. Extrude the circle 4 inches. So we just type 4. It makes it 4 inches thick. We say, okay, that's this part. Now, how do you cut that over and groove in there? Well, we're going to have to do a revolve to get that cut on there. You know, some people might try and draw a circle and then a smaller thing and extrude it, and then a bigger one. Now, we're going to cut that with a groove. So we are going to start another sketch. The sketch we start needs to be cutting through this thing either vertically like that, horizontally like that. Do not use the back plane, doesn't work. It has to be one of these two planes. I'm going to pick the YZ plane, and that's cutting my part. Now to see my part where it's cut, I hit my F7. It slices the geometry at the sketch plane. But I need to be able to draw my little groove right on this edge. If I try and draw a rectangle, I got nothing to snap it to. So I need to project some geometry here. I could do this one either way. I could project the geometry, or I could project cut edges. It would give me the same thing in this case, because I'm right at the center of my part. If I wasn't at the center of my part, I would have to project cut edges. So that's the difference between project geometry and project cut edges. I'm going to project geometry, select that part. Draw a little rectangle here. Boom, boom. I'm going to dimension it. It says it needs to be 0.25 by 0.25. So I click there. I make that 0.25. Enter. Width has to be 0.25. I click that. And I could type in 0.25. I'm just going to click that other dimension because it's already 0.25. Now they want it 0.25 down from the surface of the part, but they want the volume, so it doesn't matter where I cut this. If they wanted the center of gravity, it would matter, but I'll go ahead and dimension that line to line, and I'll make that one 0.25 as well by clicking that other dimension. I finish my sketch. Now I can revolve that. It's already selected my profile, but now it needs an axis. And I can't select the curve. I got to select an axis. So I come over here and I'll find an axis that goes through the middle. Select axis. Okay. Is it my... Oh, it won't even let me pick the X. It'll let me pick the Y and the Z. So I want my Z axis, and it's going to do this. But I don't want to join it, do I? I want to cut. So I'm going to make that a cut. That cuts my groove. Looks good. I say, okay. I don't need to even change my material. What's the volume of the part? I right click on the part at the top. Go to my iProperties, physical update. Volume is this. Control C. Control V. Next. Hey, my answer is correct. Close out of that before I go to my next. Oh, and Inventor crashes again. Next. Reload my application. And wait for it to come up. Give it a minute. Yeah, so it comes up. My tabs aren't correct, so I here and check that. So I'm going to go back to loft. I'm going to which loop to use. So I have to pick a loop. So I want to make sure I get just that inner loop highlighted. Inner loop. And then when I come out, yeah, now when I come out here, I can't click it. I have to click to add. Now, view of my loft, I say, okay. That gives me my loft. What is the center of gravity of the resultant part? That means this part in the Z direction. Centers of gravity are in iProperties. Right click at the top. iProperties. Physical. Update. Center of gravity in Z. Control V. 3 decimal places. Next. What didn't I like about that? Next. There we go. It is correct. Close that and say next. Oh, it crashed out, but I don't need create a new project. What is the default type of project created? Okay, well, let's go ahead and relaunch our application. When you create a new project, what's the default type? Well, your project button is up here. Creating a project, that's not project, that's project in this case, don't you? Love English. Okay, or you can go File, Manage, Projects, either way. And then we can see if we create a new project, we have 2 choices. Single user, new vault. New single user, new vault. Has to be that. Just X out of there. New single. Oh, the default type. My bad. Just one. Default type is single user, new single user. So that's what I need there. It only takes one. Cancel, X, next. Yep, got it. Next. Next, okay. Open parameters IPT. Let's see if it does that. Okay, parameters IPT. Change the parameter of sketch 1 so that the overall width of the part is relational to the inside surface diameter. Use the formula D13. Okay, so, and they want the center of gravity. So how do you find your parameters of sketch 1? Well, there's two ways you can do that. If that little FX up there, you can see right up here, FX, you can click on that, or you can say manage, and click the manage tab, and click the FX here for parameters. I'm going to click this one. And then you look down through your parameters until you find D13, and D13 has a formula in it. It's not this formula here. Now, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to highlight that formula. Don't put the D13 equals, because you got the D13 out here. This implies the equal. Do Control C, highlight that, Control V. Oh yeah, nice. Okay, it's black, so it's good. If it says, if it's red, it's no good. I'm going to say done, and it's going to update my part. I don't even know what it did. CG is in iProperties, right click, iProperties, physical, update, Y direction, negative, Control C. Make sure you get the negative. They show the negative here, but you still need it here. So you need a negative, and then this, we say next, Hey, we got the right answer. Next, what dimension type controls the model? A driving dimension. We don't talk about it much, driving versus driven. But when you try and put a dimension on a part, sometimes you'll say it'll be over constrained. You want to accept a driven dimension, you can say yes, you can accept it. The driving dimension is what changes the size of the part. Like if you dimension a circle, put a different dimension on, the size of the circle changes. Driving dimension. Next. Let me close this. Okay. Inventor crashes. And see, can I go previous? Nope, it's hung up now. Okay, if it does that in the middle of your test, here's what you do. Come down to the GMetrix little window here, and it should tell you that you can close it. So I'm just going to X out completely. And then I'm going to have to relaunch GMetrix SME. Should be a shortcut on your taskbar. When it comes back in, and I sign in again, is it really signing in? No, I'm going to have to apologize to our tech guys because this would seem to be a GMetrix problem that we've been having. Let's try it again. Okay, well, I'm going to have to pause the video at this point and see what I can do about fixing this. And again, if it happens in the middle of your test, when we go back in, it will allow us to restart the test where we were. But you know, it's just an inconvenience. So let's, I don't know. If you're having this problem, I would probably recommend that you log out and log back in, but oh, there it is, finally. Okay. So see, it comes back up. We can resume test here, and we'll click resume test. Tell it which version. Should bring us right back to where we were. And we wait patiently. Okay, so here we were, driving dimension. Next. Hey, we got that one right. Next. Okay, and then crashes yet again. we may have to find a different practice test provider. This is a bit crazy. Okay, so we're supposed to share and extrude sketch 6 to match the image above. So they want a little hump here and here. Of course, the first thing we do is we rotate our part so it looks kind of like theirs does, so it's less confusing. So I need to share and extrude sketch 6. Now where's sketch 6? And it's under extrusion 6, so you got to click the plus to see it. Then we can right click on it and share it. We could also just make it visible. It does the same thing. Now we can see sketch 6. So I got to go back because I don't have my tabs up here. So I got to refresh the current file. Do what I just did. Get the view I want. Click the plus next to extrusion 6. Right click on the sketch and share it. Now I can extrude that sketch. So how much do I want to extrude? I really just want the top, but it won't matter because of the way we're going to do it. But I'm just going to get the top of that. And you might want to zoom in when you're trying to pick the top so you get what you want, because it'll always want to snap to that dimension. So I want to extrude this to that surface. And I don't know how far it is, but luckily through our distances, we've got through all, but we've got 2. So if I click 2, and we don't want to do 2 next, because 2 next would be that one. We want to go 2. We want to extrude that to that face. Yeah. But they want the mass of the part, so we can't afford to have this coming through here. So we don't want to start our extrude at our sketch surface. We want to start the extrude someplace else. So up here where it says from, we click on there, and so we don't want it to go from the sketch plane. We want it to go from this surface right here, and we can actually pick that surface right through our part. We don't even have to turn it. So, and it wouldn't matter if I did this surface too, because the solids will meld together. I want to go from that surface to that surface, and see how that works there. That's what I want. It leaves the cut here, gives me the humps here and here. I say okay. Mass of the part, so I go to iProperties, right click, iProperties, physical, update, mass, Control C, Control V, next. Hey, another correct answer. I'm getting pretty good at this. Okay. I'm going to close out of that. So open, oops. So it's going to crash between every test question. Okay, so had a sound problem right at the end of question 13 here, so I'm going to redo it, and I'll edit it back together. So get this all done. Okay, so we want our circles to be concentric, constrained to be concentric, extrude to 3 inches, put 1, 2, 3, 4 fillets on here. So, see, I can't do it yet. I don't have all my tabs, so I have to refresh I just had to reset my application. Now I'm going to reset my part file. Okay, now I've got this, and now I can go in, double click the sketch, go in here. Now I could just drag this over and drop it on there. They want us to make it concentric, so we'll do that. So concentric is up here, our little bullseye. Concentric, click this circle and that circle, and that makes them concentric. Looks like a bullseye. Of course, why they wouldn't have drawn at least one of these circles at the origin, I don't know, but it won't affect the volume of the part, so we are not going to mess with it. Finish it, we extrude it, click the area, type in the 3. Again, don't have to do anything else. Don't have to go up here and select it. Type in the 3, fill it. We've already got 0.125, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, don't have to rotate your part. You can pick for fillet or chamfer right through the part. Say OK, go your iProperties. So you go, when you want the volume for the whole part, you go up here to the part, right click, and go to iProperties. Now I do see some people coming down here to the tab and right clicking and going to iProperties, and that's fine. But if you've got a bunch of parts across the bottom, you might get the wrong one. So don't do that. Right click up here on the part, iProperties, physical, update. The volume is here. We highlight the volume, Control C. Scroll down here, click in our answer, Control V, and hit, well, no, don't hit next, because I have found out that we have to close this first. Now we hit next, and we've got the right answer. And we move on to the next part, which will be in the next video. Okay, almost halfway through.